Again, hello you lovely guys. Let's get straight into business. No intro, basically no intro. Again, check out the uranium videos. Uranium looks really darn good. Talked about it Monday. We're seeing confirmation. So as long as we see what we like, heavy bullish short term, remain bullish long term, that's good. This is my daily update of miscellaneous stuff. And I have a few ETFs I want to show you just to give, because we were bullish, targets are hit on some of them. I want to give my opinion basically. And also I'm gonna mention oil here. Oil, yes, oil. Oil is interesting for me right now. XLE. Let's dive into it. Yeah, let's dive into this stuff here. I want to show you hydrogen here, just to again I should delete my doodles before we go live. Casper, you donkey Kong. So again, hydrogen here, we said, hey, you above 20, we clear some internal stuff down here. We rallied, made the head and shoulder here, right? And then we hit target. Perfect target. Now we're still, the overall pullback, whatever you want to call this here. Let's go to the daily time frame. And again, the doodles. We need a delete button or something like that. Anywho, the target was hit quite perfectly, and then we had to move down. You can see here, tried to breach, couldn't. And then we have a big lower low, so definitely in a daily time frame bear market. That's obvious for everyone, right? So we had a potential bull flag here with this blue. In just a second, it's a blue one, where you can see we had this stuff here. Typically, I like that very much. We came further down, and now we're back in. So is that blue flag really valid? I don't think so. We need to wait to see what happens here. So the first leg down, and then we have the second leg here. So could we get a third, right? Could we get something like this on the way down? Sure. Could we even revisit the neckline? Sure. That will be a buying opportunity, by the way. So yeah, just to mention that again, we said it before, the target is hit. We are pulling back. Do I think this is it? No, no, I don't. Again, we had a huge bear market here, and we are breaking out, and this was kind of like the first leg up. So whatever happens here, right, we could get some really funky stuff happening out of hydrogen. But there's no entries right now. There's no nothing. Just one major target has been hit, which again, nice to have that target being hit. I played the ETF only. I didn't do any what's it called? I didn't do any stocks, because at that point in time I had a lot of things happening with uranium and gold and platinum and palladium, so I didn't have the capacity, to manage a very volatility sector that is hydrogen. The hard drive was basically completely, or the RAM was basically completely booked out at that point in time. So I just did the ETF, which again is not too bad, from 20 to 47. So that is hydrogen. The JX or the CDNX on other platforms is the S&P Canadian Ventures Composite, and it's a really good guide for the mining also. There are a few, of course, but this one it's really good for the mining. And you can see here what a absolutely, if this doesn't tickle you in every way possible, that is a 20-year macro wedge. 20 long years at just perfection. And by the way, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it would have been worse, actually. I really thought it would have been. But you can't really get this precision, in the valleys and the peaks here, if you do a nominal scale or regular. I urge you all to do log scale. I was hesitant until, I will say, 2 years ago. Borg used log scale for a long time, of course, way before, a long time. Then I had a good friend of mine also saying, hey, you gotta use log scale, and I'm like, nah. And then I said to myself, I'm gonna use it for a month and see what happens. Initially, it was a bit, tricky to flip that, but that is your level of precision, the charts, everything just gets 1000% more clear. So if you don't do log scale, I urge you to try it. It is, in my book, it's, there's no question. I've done both, and log scale is completely outperforming the regular scale. Anywho, that was a bit of a sidestep into something different. Just, I think it's very important, log scale, log scale, log scale, especially long term, but it doesn't matter, short term as well, log scale. Good. I wanted to show you again, this is the breakout of that whole 20-year macro breakout. Bit of a teeny weeny back test. Could there be a bigger one? Totally, that can easily happen. Not easily, but that can happen, which would mean the miners is going to be hit quite hard. But for now, we have this bull flag breakout, which we are very pleased with. So could it be that we're going to have a good rally here, maybe charge up? That would be giving us the first very long-term bull market entry, basically. So the long-term bull market entry. So yeah, that's interesting for the JX. Again, I don't know why it's called JX here. I know it's called CDNX on most platforms. I don't know. If you have if you know why, let me know. And this is a shout out to Hedgehog Trader on Twitter. He found this for me because I couldn't find it, and he searched for like 2 seconds. It's called JX. Thank you. So that is for Hedgehog. He mentioned it to me. So yeah, again, this is a good guide for mining, and you can see mining has done really well, right? I think you can overlay a lot of the GDXJ potentially, and these guys. I think you see a good match. I haven't done it though. But again, back to the main point, the bull flag has been breaking out, which is really cool to see for the JX, which is tailwind for the mining. We love mining. Yes, we do. We're gonna skip XLE and oil. We're gonna come back to that because that, I think, is the most important thing for this video. Copper miners, again, we mentioned the long here. We've done 2 longs on this one here. 2 longs on copper, which again, one of them, we didn't do it here, but we have done this, is in the signals and setups here. So again, this was just a massive breakout from a channel. I must have, that was because me being a total doofy. So here we have this channel, right? It was like 4 years long. Absolutely horrendous. I wouldn't say horrendous, but you are definitely getting killed by time. Then we have this wedge here, right? Above the internal mega support, Trump thing, boom, off we went. Breaking out above it. And whenever we start to really do textbook kind of very small tight flags with no uncertainties, these are good. And that's an understatement. So the flag breakout is there. The stop loss can still be done below, like you can see here, 56. If we start to unwind and come down, get out, because that is when we go down really low. But for now, the bull flag is breaking out. Our target is still close to 90. 88 is actually the mark we have, which coincide with an upsloping trend line here. So copper miners looks really good. Really good. Lithium, as you can see here, target also hit. And I will say this again, this is also something I'm trying to incorporate, because these things are something you need to get used to. Because looking at this, it's looking so pretty darn good, right? Look at the uptrend, but it has also done quite a lot since our entry down here at like 40, and we had a measured move to the underbelly of this legacy trend line. We overshot a little bit here and there. Yes, we did, and that's, again, it will never hit to the T, right? I mean, sometimes, but I've done it twice basically, where I got it to the second decimal, basically 2 times. One was like 4 years ago, which was more like luck, but anywho. You can see here we have this rising wedge, yeah, and you can see we're having a little bit of a counter trend thing here now. Selling here can be done, because until we start to regain the highs up here, you know, at the highest point of the wedge, there's nothing to come for as we speak now, of course. If we do this, okay, then we will get in early, I know. But for now, there's no real bull thing, you know, like, oh, we're really bullish, until we get back above and just smoke the wedge. Very simple. And also here, potentially, you can see the topping pattern on the shorter time frame. Meaning, if we start to get below like 59, that triggers a move. I'm going to draw this freehand, so bear with me. That triggers a move down to basically 54, right? And again, if we get a counter rally here, all of a sudden you can see, I mean, we could really unwind everything that we have been making. So I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but it could happen. Therefore, again, selling half here, selling it all maybe even, so it's not a bad idea. So again, you have your decision now. Do you hold? That might be the least option, I guess, given, I don't know, but selling half here, selling it all, done really well. You're up, what is that, 60% since July. Yeah, and then just wait for a better day. If it all of a sudden starts to come roaring back, you can always buy back in above like 66 or 65. But most likely we will just have a bit of a pause here, right? We maybe, you know, and then we can go long again potentially. It all depends on what is going to happen, right? Oh, could be, again, it could be whatever. We don't really know. Could it be a long bull flag here? Oi, we're going to be long again. So, but the trade from the entry there is done, basically. That is what that entry was made to do. What happens next here, we shall see. But it was a goodie. Now to the real point. 12 minutes. Am I really talking that much? I'm sorry. Again, if I talk too much, guys, I'm trying to cope it down, and sometimes I'm getting, you know, getting hyped up. So I talk. I didn't do that 5 years ago. I was very, you know, like a silent guy. But when it comes to trading, I could go on forever. Good. XLE and oil. If you look at the oil chart, which we will do in like 2 minutes, it doesn't look like if you look at it, oh yes, oil is gonna go. I will say it's not zero signs, but there's no vibes to it. And then again, my gut feeling, I want to explain my thoughts. It's a bit weird one, but I want to explain my thoughts. But also here, XLE, remember, this is a big moment where we tried to clear some legacy highs here, and then we had Trump tariffs completely destroying, or basically deleveraging everyone. There were no leveraged long down here. They were completely gone. And now we're getting back to that level, right? Where once we start to take out that high at like 70, what am I saying? 84, 85. XLE, which is, you know, stocks, oil stocks and gas stocks, they look pretty fantastic. And you know, we have been buying a little bit of oil stocks recently. They don't look bad. So, and also, by the way, we have a trend line coming down here, which we are peaking above now. This is actually a 1 year trend line breakout into some pretty supply and, you know, a pretty heavy supply and demand. I know. But again, you're just starting to see the early signs, and these are very early. But again, this confirms that whenever we get a good signal in like one of the stocks, I think it's a legit one, because we have that gut feeling. At least I have that gut feeling. You know, oil is going to do that. There's not a whole lot of downside left, and yeah, I'm going to explain oil in a little bit. So this is XLE. Again, I could put on 1 million lines here. But to me, this is the only thing that matters. So that I'm just focused on this, because everything else, for now, I mean, it just complicates your chart. I have two things on. That is my guide. And the first one is breaking on XLE. On what number? The 4th. So it's interesting. Let's see what happens here. Now we are at 92. And let's see what happens when we come to 95. Let's see. Again, this has been a funky one, by the way. Ooh, you rarely get this type of stuff, by the way. It's a bit tricky to do. Anywho, oil. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time because it doesn't make any sense. I think what I'm about to, maybe it does, I don't know. But to me here, after the Trump tariff, we actually were very bullish and we got humiliated quite quickly. We had some head and shoulders at the bottom here. We had some trend line breakage. That is really good to take. That, you know, that is not bad. And we got back above our blue line here. So the thesis that we had back then was we're gonna rally here, cool. We're gonna pull back, fantastic, and then we're gonna break. And we didn't get exactly that right. We didn't get anything like that. So I'm not gonna call any oil specifically long here. No. That would be a bit, you know, crazy. However, this again, and I can't really explain it why, no, but I think this grinding thing here with that lower low getting taken out and now we're coming back up. You know, these internal, where we say these are pockets of potential starts to the bigger breakouts. So my view now is, for oil, if we start to see this here, when we break, if we break, we come to the green and we break. That's a pretty damn good start, really. Look at the trend channel here coming down. And then, of course, we have the big blue again and all that. But I just feel that this stuff here is the low for some reason. I'm not going to call it. I'm just emptying my thoughts. And I can't really explain why. Also, if you know, we're looking at the longer time frames. Are we bullish on oil long term at one point? Oh, hell yes, we are, because this stuff here is fantastic. The breakout, again, breakout back test, one back test more. We are flagging above 20-year, you know, support. All that is all fine and good. So are we gonna be? I'm just gonna at like 140 back in 2028. Yeah, that's not totally crazy. But for now, we're still stuck. You can see here, you can't really see anything what we just looked at here in the monthly. But yeah, there it is. Right, that's the wedge that we're all looking at. And this little green tip here could be the precursor to all that. Could be. Don't go out and yell it into the streets and all that. So that is all. I hope the update was good. Check out the uranium stocks. We're going to cover them more heavily here because we are seeing what we want to see, but also right after the breakouts, that's also when it can fail. Right, so we have to be prepared for that. Have a great day. I will I will update the signals and setups with the video from before, and then I'll get some sleep. Have an amazing day, guys. And we have Friday tomorrow, and then we have 2 weeks left for this year. And 2026 is going to be if the gold when. No, well, we're going to use if because nothing is certain. That gold to silver ratio, when that comes down, you know, lower and lower and lower, it's going to be fantastic for the mining sector. And also, of course, oil will, again, if this happens, you know, oil could do really well as well. But the gold silver ratio is so important to look at every week at least. Yeah, I could talk forever. Have an amazing day, guys, as always. Bye.